It's Pinocchio meets the Santa Claus 3. We're talking the adventures of Candy Claus. Hit it. It was 1987. Chrysler bought competitor American Motors. Red M&Ms were back in the marketplace after being banned for 11 years. And Mr. and Mrs. Claus got a child of their very own. I'm your host, Jerry D, with another episode of Totally Rad Christmas, the podcast that talks all things Christmas in the 80s. Toys, movies, specials, music, and fads. If it was gnarly during Christmas in the 80s, we got it covered. Now, joining me is a Totally Rad Christmas all-star from Million Monkey Theater. It's Bradley Lyndon. Bradley, how's it going?
It's going well. I'd like to thank you for getting me away from scooping cat litter for an hour.
I have a cat. I know that pain. So you're very welcome.
Yeah, well, if you recall, I have more cats than I'm allowed to tell you how many cats we have.
I do recall,
and we're up one because we moved. And I had a porch cat, and I've been taking care of this porch cat her whole life. What am I going to do? Leave her there?
Yeah.
So now we have another one. Because we needed another one.
I'm sorry, but good for you as well. But yeah, I'm sorry. It's good to see you again. How have you been?
Thank you for I'm good. Thank you for having me. I've been very, very busy. We've been, moving into this house. This was my mother-in-law's house. And,
okay.
We wanted to keep it in the family, so we purchased the house, and we were renovating for a very long time. I got to say, poor little Million Monkey Theater has just been left lying fallow for the year because this is all I've been doing.
Right.
But I am doing my Christmas articles this year.
I love it.
I've already started them. I've already picked my specials, and I've already started them. They're not going to be as elaborate this year, but I'm definitely going to get them out there. I can't miss a year. I can never forgive myself.
I tell you what, though, the other articles throughout the year are great, but like, my favorite is your Christmas your Christmas little run right there.
Well, thank you. You're the Christmas guy, I was actually curious about Candy Claus, whether that was something. Did you know about this special and see or not before you saw that I had written it up?
So I actually learned about it from your site.
Okay.
And then I did a little digging, and there's really not a lot of info about it, but
no,
I did know there's a book. Yeah.
The book was Louis Corbeau is the name of the guy who did the book. And he actually, if you go on last year, anyway, when I wrote the article, if you went on Amazon, there was a copy of it available on there, a used copy. And his review of his own book is the first review. No. And I'm like, that's just not cricket.
You don't
review your own book. That's it's just not done.
Or if you do, use an alias.
Exactly. Well, the first thing he says is, "Well, I wrote this book, so I'm prejudiced, not prejudiced. I'm prejudiced." And I'm thinking maybe the book didn't sell because you couldn't conjugate a verb properly.
he's definitely in the wrong there. But it's like he's the prejudice personified. I don't know what is he saying.
I guess. Well, he's plugging the book. He's still plugging the book. I think he's a little bitter that it didn't sell too well. The only reason I did this was that I found this was because I wanted to do something that was made in Australia, because I like to choose articles from different countries,
Right.
And there's not a whole lot of Christmas specials in Australia that do not involve the Wiggles. There's the children's band, the Wiggles,
right.
And I don't want to crack open that egg. That's a rabbit hole we're going to stay away from. So I don't know how Australia ended up with the rights to this thing, but they clearly intended to make it, some kind of a
series,
franchise,
right,
or a series.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting because I don't know if you saw this, but there is a broadcast version that's about a minute and a half longer.
I did see that. Yeah.
Okay.
I found the uncut version. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Candy Claus uncut. Right. Yes.
We'll get into it. We'll totally get into it. Before we do, though, I have a brand new segment that I've been doing this year. It's called Hit Me with the Toaster. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. I want you just to hit me with the first answer that comes to your mind. You don't have to think too hard about it, just whatever pops in your head. So
I'm not capable of thinking too hard about it right now. So that's fine.
I think that's why I enjoy having you on, because I'm the same way.
Yeah.
But okay, first question. Let's say that Ohno is Scrooge. Recast the ghosts of Christmas with Professor Mustknow, Shad-O, and Candy Claus.
Am I supposed to act this out?
No. Just who would you pick as which ghost? Like present, past, present, and yet to come.
Well, I think the professor is probably yet to come. And who else am I working with?
So let's do Shad-O, which is her robot overseer.
Shad-O is the ghost of Christmas past because he has a database, and then Candy would be leftover, and she is a leftover, so she just gets whatever's left.
Okay,
right.
I'll take it. That works for me. Oh, okay. Let's say you're having Christmas with Candy and the Clauses. What dessert would you bring?
Something laced with strychnine. Maybe a nice, a Jello mold of some kind that would cover the taste, and they would eat it without knowing that they had about 20 minutes to live.
And you'll just surreptitiously go to the wine cellar to pick out some wine.
Well, I don't drink, but I'm sure he has a very good wine cellar, and I could use them as gifts. So
there you go.
I'll bring home something for the wife.
That's right.
I just killed Christmas for all time. Here's a bottle of Merlot. Right.
Exactly. And finally, okay, who do you think would win in a fight, Candy Claus or Pinocchio?
Pinocchio's got the nose as a weapon, so I think he has an advantage. He lies a few times, and it's like he's got one of those ninja sticks. So or he could just poke her eyes out with it, and then he just could, pummel at will.
Okay, I like that. Well, that's just a way for our listeners to get to know you a little bit better. So,
I'm sure they're terrified now.
They've got an image formed in their mind. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell right away that maybe I didn't like this special so much?
This special was something else. Yeah.
It's abysmal. You are a glass half full guy, clearly. I am, you like to find, something laudable and good in things. I'm not that guy. I'm a sentimentalist, but I'm like a closet sentimentalist. I'm a pessimistically defensive sentimentalist.
And that's okay. We love that.
But that's why I do what I do.
That's why I love reading your articles. They're so fun.
Thank you, but you're hard pressed to find anything really worthwhile in this. I think. I
feel like if Rankin Bass had taken this story, it would have at least been up a notch, but probably 2 or 3.
Well, yeah, it's clearly very cheap. The animation is terrible.
Right.
The editing is very jarring and confusing, and it doesn't make it any better that. It's got 2 different versions, and some of them have stuff cut out of it.
Right.
That so you see reaction shots to things that aren't in the VHS version. So it kind of, we'll get to that when we get to that.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I say it's the special nobody wanted based on the book nobody read.
Well, the weird you're right about that 1,000,000%. But the weird thing is it's called The Adventures of Candy Claus. And again, I think the title was meant to set up, like you were saying, a series or a franchise or something.
Sure.
But there's no real adventure in any of this. It's really just she comes to life and makes toys. Like, where's the adventure? I was expecting something when I saw the title.
Yeah, and she's not an appealing character either. But I'll get into that later. There's something in particular about her that gets on my nerves, and I will.
I think I know what it is.
Probably. All right.
But the whole thing did feel one last thing before we dive in. The whole thing did feel very like Ralph Bakshi. You know how he famously did the Lord of the Rings, and he did a little bit of the Two Towers, and then he just ran out of money, and Rankin Bass had to come in and finish, with the Return of the King.
But they weren't there. They weren't in Australia. They were busy elsewhere. So,
that's right.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's the same thing. Like this production company thought, hey, we got this, we could do this, and then somehow ran out of money, and so like animation frames are skipped. It feels very Filmation with its whole just less frames per second than usual.
Yeah, real low frame rate,
Yeah,
and
it's real
very
stilted.
jerky, jarring kind of. And then there's a lot of gesticulating that gets repeated
Right,
with the elves, and yeah, and the voice acting is also pretty bad. It seems they did the thing where they're trying to mimic celebrity voices to
right,
cover the fact that they've only got two voice actors,
right, right.
which is like, some really great low budget films are dubbed with only two actors, and
Right.
they do. It's hilarious to hear the ways that they try to delineate the characters by giving them, Southern accents or Mexican accents or whatever,
Right.
and there's a similar dynamic going on here.
Well, I don't know what you mean.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, Jimmy Stewart will be making a cameo.
Yes,
Yes,
he
he
will.
will.
He will.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So yeah, let's dive right in.
All
This
right.
special starts off with a family, and it clearly seems like the animators or the voice actors didn't know who was the mom of this group, because the lady that looks like the mom has his voice like she sounds like the daughter, and one of the girls that looks like as a daughter sounds like the mom. It was
Right. And there's
strange.
another daughter, and
And
they
there's
all look
another,
like they're
right?
around the same age.
They
They're
do, yeah.
animated to look like they're around the same age. So I called them sister wives in my review.
It
They
could
were,
be.
the son was clearly the son,
Right.
but the daughters, you didn't really know who was who. Were they, are they, is he like an old school Mormon? We don't know.
We
I
know.
did
Yeah.
notice, he's got a big wonkin' nose,
Right.
and everybody else has a little button nose. So I question the paternity of his children.
It could be the neighbor. I don't know.
It could be the neighbor. It could be his buddy from work, who she met at the work softball game. I don't know. Do they do that in Australia? I don't know.
I
Is it cricket? Who knows?
Cricket. I think it would be cricket. Yeah.
It's probably cricket at the cricket match. Yeah, she just loves a strong bowler who knows how to take down the pins. Anyway,
Yeah. I like this fan fiction we're creating here. This alternate
anything we
reality.
create is gonna we create is gonna be more interesting than what ended up on stage.
I really was. It really was dry. Yeah, and it's sweet and sentimental, and I get it, but it is really dry, but
it's forced.
that's actually
Anyway,
a really good word
go
for
ahead.
it. Like all the physical comedy, like this whole section with the family, there with the presents and the dad falling under the tree and then falling later on in the
Unnecessary
snow.
slapstick. Yes.
Right, right. It reminds me of a story when Sandra Bullock was filming that movie All About Steve, that when she won the Razzie for that, she would she would go to the director and say, if you put a bunch of stuff here on the floor, then I can just like trip over it. Like she was just trying to spruce it up, and of course,
right, because she knew she had a turd. She was burnishing the turd.
And that's kind of how I feel. Like, oh, the dad falls under the tree, and he makes a joke about, I always wanted to feel like a gift or something like that, and
right,
and then he falls in the snow, and he has all the snow makes a beard like like Wile E. Coyote in the Roadrunner.
Right, that old chestnut. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
And that's him falling in the snow with the Santa beard is the thing that got cut from the VHS version, by the way. So that's why you see this weird cut of the neighbor pulling the blind down that doesn't seem to have any connection to anything. That's because they cut something that should have been there. But we'll get to the neighbors when we get to the neighbors.
Why didn't they
need mention?
Why didn't they just like cut that whole bit? Like they just cut all the neighbors out if you're going to cut things. That just doesn't.
I don't know. Sense. They needed somebody to sound like Harvey Firestein, I guess. But anyway.
Yeah. So the family, the son, of course, he's just anxious for his presents. He wants to know where his presents from Santa are, and at his age, he should know that Santa delivers only on Christmas Eve.
He's like 47,
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
His voice sounds like it is.
Yeah. He's got an implant, because his heart's not so good,
Oh, no.
Morphine drip in the evenings for that chronic pain,
Yeah, actually, he was a smoker, And
right, heavy smoker all his
yeah,
life, right?
yeah,
Yeah, from a very
yeah.
young age, from
They
the age of
started him
2.
young. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's like wondering where these presents are, and his sister mom has to tell him, like, Santa doesn't come till later, and makes him wonder, like, well, what does Santa get? And I guess
Right.
that's the big question of the specials. What does Santa get for Christmas?
Right. And the answer is nobody
Junk.
needed to know the answer. The answer is Santa gets a box full of crap.
It's junk.
That's
Yeah.
what
That's what he gets. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
decide they're going to make Santa presents. And I love how this whole scene is
Oh.
them stitching and sewing and painting the faces, but it's like superimposed and intermixed with
It's
weird.
psychedelia. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
60s psychedelia. It's like an anti-drug film from 1967. The dangers of LSD. Well,
Right.
Don't take LSD at Christmas. There's too many shiny things. You're going to have a bad trip. This is the bad trip that you would have had if you were tripping looking at the Christmas tree in 1967.
Why don't we make him a gift?
Strangers smile and children sing in my kind of Christmas. Listen to the church bells ring in my kind of Christmas.
And it's odd because some of those bad trip images are like actual images. They're real life images,
Right,
which have nothing to do with animation.
It's a little disturbing, actually. Yeah. It really is. And the song that goes over it is clearly somebody who's not a singer. This is not a professional singer. They could not afford to hire a professional singer. And this guy, I love Leon Redbone. Do you know who that is?
Yeah. He's got a great Christmas album. Yeah.
Oh my God, I met him. I felt like a 5-year-old having him sign my
album. Really?
Oh,
that's cool.
My God, yeah. But anyway, this guy has that sort of low drawling voice, except that it sounds like he's very drunk. He's like, yeah.
He probably was.
Merry Christmas.
Right.
It's really, really bad. And the Christmas music in a special can redeem other elements. But this was not the case.
Well, what makes it difficult is that there's no information about anything really. Not even in IMDb. There's no trivia. There's barely any information about some of the production staff. So it's like, I have no idea really who sung any of these songs unless I were to zoom in on that really tiny little and freeze frame the images there. But I didn't want to put that much effort into it.
Yeah, I think it was just the drunk Santa they found, ringing the bell on the corner. He had a little flask to keep himself warm.
If it's cold, a man's got to do something to keep warm.
He had another little flask to keep himself warm. He had a third little flask to keep himself warm, and then they put some lyrics in his hand, and he sang the song.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. So they finish making their toys and they come up with a note that says something like, to Santa from all the children of the world, right? Okay.
I wrote it down.
Okay, go.
To Santa from all the children of the world, demonstrably a lie, by the way, because it's from 5 people. Right?
That's right. I think the rest of the children of the world have grounds for a lawsuit, right?
Exactly. This is slander.
That's right.
We hope you love this doll as much as we love you. But of course, there's 2 dolls, but the note says this doll.
This doll,
and
right?
There's a narrative reason for that, because we know Santa only ends up getting one of the dolls, and he would know that there was another doll if they had, written the note properly.
Right. And then he might have actually investigated and put 2 and 2 together. Yeah.
Right. So Louis Corbo could do that, but he couldn't conjugate prejudice. He could figure out that you needed to have the word form be a certain way, but he couldn't do that.
We all have our strengths,
Yeah, so strengths, and we all have our weaknesses.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. So the dad goes outside, and luckily Santa he goes right outside when Santa's simultaneously delivering the presents in his house, and he has a ladder. Yeah. I love how his ladder is just already set up on the outside of the house for, it's like just the ladder we all leave up by our house.
He was prepared. The man was prepared. He had a plan, and he was gonna follow through with it. Just like me with this strychnine. you know. So
oh goodness. Now I'm a little nervous if I ever come eat at your house. I'm a little nervous. No, but this is where we're introduced to the neighbors.
Hey, Lou! You look like Santa Claus! Huh?
Yes, the neighbors, your neighbors, who's I don't remember their names, but the one guy's like, he says to his wife, "Oh, it's Santa Claus. Oh, it's Santa Claus." And then she goes like, "It's not Santa Claus. I just want to be loved. Is that so wrong?" You know, their voices. And she's like laying with the curlers in her hair in a bathrobe,
Yeah.
reading a woman's magazine, right?
Yep.
And you just know that their house smells like cigarette ash and like perfumed toilet paper, right?
I know some of those. I know some of those houses.
It's a very olfactory scene,
right?
You know, so of course, the wife doesn't believe anything about that, and I surmise they don't have a great relationship.
No, she's the kind of lady that if they were out shopping and she wanted some lights or wreaths or just something nice, and he would try to actually have like a reason for it, she would just say, "You never loved me. You don't love me because you won't buy me those." I mean, yeah, she's that kind of lady.
They're gonna have their meltdown in Walmart, people, for damn
exactly.
sure.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So
all right,
the dad sneaks up on the roof and he, surreptitiously sneaks the gift onto Santa's sleigh. And of course, it's in a spot that Santa won't notice, luckily. Why he didn't just put it right on the seat, with the note up on top is beyond me. But, plot has to continue. So
we're going to make that plot continue, even if it doesn't make sense. It's very convenient, too, because this is the very last house of the 1 billion+ houses that he's visiting that he has to visit, because he's done and he gets to go home now. So there's no possibility that he's going to look for another gift because he gave them all away.
He gave them all away.
Again, very convenient in moving forward the plot, such as it is. So,
and I love this type of like perfectly convenient writing, where everything just lines up.
Everything has to line up perfectly because, you just can't think of a way to make it work if you don't line it up perfectly.
Exactly. Yeah, there's no way. It's just not going to work out. So Santa gets in his sleigh. He gets back up the chimney. Okay, before we talk, I want to talk about Santa's suit because it is awful. Like he's got the white fur around the cuffs of his sleeves, but there's no white fur anywhere else. So it's just like a big red blob. Yeah.
He looks like a fat bellboy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's lovely. It's what all of the Santas are going to be wearing this year. So.
Oh, I hope not.
I hope not. Yeah.
So as he's flying home, this is where we are introduced to the antagonist, the villain, I guess, of the piece. It's his name is Ohno, and we're introduced to by Santa saying,
"Oh no, it's Ohno."
Right.
Yeah.
Not Yoko Ono.
No. Well, it could have been with the way he cackled. I don't know. That
would have been way more interesting, actually. She would have just, remember she had that thing where she just cut things in half and painted them white. She could have been pestering him to do some sort of Christmas themed art installation.
I would have taken it. I'd gladly would have taken that. I would have watched the heck out of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Ohno is like a cross between like Albert Einstein and like the DC Comics character Red Tornado. Like the bottom half of him just becomes wind and
right. I thought of Tornado Man from the Mighty Heroes. Do you remember the Mighty Heroes?
I do remember that. Yeah.
Speaking of Ralph Bakshi, that was Ralph Bakshi did Mighty Heroes, right?
Nice.
Yeah, Tornado Man, Baby Man, right. Yeah. So he's just he's weird because his eyes open and close at different times.
Yeah.
Like one eye will close while the other one's open, and vice versa. And I think they were trying to make him freaky deaky, but it was really just headachy.
Yeah. He's just very frenetic.
Viewer.
Yeah. Hey, I like that. I'm gonna coin that. That's great. Yeah. So I mean, he's a mischief maker, I guess, is kind of how it seems.
Douchebag. He's a douchebag.
I mean, basically, because he totally opens up a present that's not his, takes the present, and then rubs it in Santa's face that he got a present and Santa didn't.
Right. But Santa's just so knackered. He's so tired. He's just like, whatever, tell me about it in the morning, kid. I got to go home and get blasted.
Yeah, it's like a Santa that's just given up on life.
Exactly.
He's
Exactly.
like, oh,
Yeah.
all right, too bad now, you know.
That's this what the Santa looked like in Christmas cards that I used to draw. He always looked like he just the weight of the world was that he just had enough.
On purpose or just accidentally?
No, that was just how I drew Santa. He just,
Okay, okay.
I was, my he had my curmudgeonly personality apparently. He was very very like deadpan Santa. Anyway.
Yeah, I like deadpan Santa. So yeah, okay, it's the next day. Santa's like just tuckered out. He falls asleep in his easy chair. His boots are off, but he's still in his suit. Like he's that kind of a Santa. And Mrs. Claus wakes up and goes outside and finds the presents in the sleigh and brings them in.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Wakes him up.
Right. But one box is empty.
But one box is completely empty. And he's like, huh, empty box. That's weird. And he just moves on to the next one. No investigating, no curiosity.
But what do they find inside the other box? They find Candy Claus.
Candy Claus. Yep.
Candy Claus.
Oh, isn't she beautiful?
She sure is. Well, well, well. I love her. I beg your pardon, dear. Did you say something?
No, I was just admiring the doll. Hello, Dad.
Oh.
Santa, she's alive.
Our
little doll with
protagonist.
little red cheeks, our protagonist, who's just a doll at this point.
Right.
And he sees the note and he decides that he loves her and she comes to life.
Is that how it works? Because that seems super easy.
Yeah, really, really. I mean,
Frankenstein needed electricity,
right. I love my cranberry lime seltzer, but it's just sitting there.
I guess you don't love it enough. I mean,
I don't love it. I never. That's right. You never loved me enough. It's saying, right. Anyway, the Candy Claus comes to life,
right.
and this is the thing that makes me despise her is her voice.
It's very cutesy.
It is. It's vocal fry, sexy baby voice.
Yes,
it is sexy baby voice. It's like an OnlyFans sexy baby voice, and it's really, really creepy.
Yeah.
Especially when she picks up a candy cane and she starts sucking on the candy cane and going, "Oh, I love the candy cane." Oh,
she makes some
isn't
odd
it the most
noises.
delicious thing you've ever tasted, boys? It is. It's just. It had to be intentional. That had to be intentional.
Yeah.
Was that how they were trying to draw in the parents, like trying to go over the heads of the kid and draw in the dads who were forced to watch this dress?
I mean, if the dad's got to watch it, throws in something for him.
Right. Exactly. Oh, it's really creepy though. It's just really creepy.
Well, it really, and it doesn't help her eyes. She has these nice long lashes, and as she has that candy cane in her mouth, they're batting,
little half closed, and she's always doing the little finger on the cheek thing with her little dimples, and it's just, oh my God, this is nauseating. It's half disturbing and half arousing, and I don't like the feelings I'm having right now.
That's all right. Yeah. Shame on me. Shame. But that's how she gets her name, right? Right. It is a little.
Makes you feel dirty. Yeah, that's not always a bad thing, but it is in this case.
It is definitely in this case, yeah. But that's how she gets her name, Candy, because she likes the candy cane.
Candy
so
Claus.
Candy Claus, and she right away is like, "Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad." And
right. So how does she know?
I don't know.
She was a block of wood 10 minutes ago. Yeah.
I don't even know if she was that. I think she was a rag doll.
Yeah. Well, she's something. She's something.
Well,
she's not. What she isn't is the basis for a franchise.
No. And I think like in the hands of a capable animation studio, like it could have been something.
Oh, you're too kind. I think you're too kind. I'm trying to find the adventure in it. Yeah, I know. I think I really feel like they spent way too much time self-consciously brand building around the character.
Right.
To stop and consider whether they had a character anyone would care about.
Well, she's not even a character because she doesn't do anything. We don't see her do anything until she runs away, really.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That's her only action to advance the plot. Yeah.
Right.
So, but we get ahead of ourselves.
We are. Yeah. Spoilers.
We just want to be loved.
So
anyway,
Santa tells Candy, well, look, I got to go to town. I got to go to Santa Town, which, I mean, it reminded me of Lex Luthor from Superman, the movie, how everything was like, Luthorville and
right.
Yeah.
I thought, won't you take me to Santa Town? Won't you take me to Santa Town?
I'm actually surprised that hasn't been turned into a song yet.
Oh, really? Yeah. That could be the next big Christmas hit. Get right on that.
Mariah, Mariah Carey, are you listening? Michael Bublé, come on, it's right up your alley.
Oh, that's a Michael Bublé. Yeah. I loved it. Won't you take me to... Yeah. The operatic version of Funky Town.
Right. So they go to Santa Town and she tags along because Santa has to go there to wish everybody Merry Christmas. That's like what he does.
Part of his job, I guess.
But I guess he would have done that a whole lot later because it's Mrs. Claus that wakes him up and Candy. So he was like still napping. So he probably would have slept in because he had a long night.
He was still punchy,
Yeah.
He was still a little punchy. He didn't know what's going on. He just does what Mrs. Claus says, happy wife, happy life.
That's what I hear. Yeah. So this is where we meet one of the residents. It's Professor Mustknow. And his name is Mustknow because he must know everything.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I was waiting for the rim shot that never came.
Exactly. Exactly.
And he talks like Jimmy Stewart.
He
talks like an exaggerated version of Jimmy Stewart.
He talks like the Whose Line Is It Anyway cast trying to do Jimmy Stewart,
Oh, exactly. Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Santa.
We just want to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Why, Christmas already? But we've just had Christmas.
That was a year ago.
Oh, good heavens. Merry Christmas, then.
Well, I don't know.
You guys are Christmas again already? Oh, I'm going to go change my colostomy bag. Oh. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, it's Rich Little doing Jimmy Stewart,
Right.
Kids, Rich Little was a comedian known for his impressions.
Right, yeah, let people know who he is.
That's right,
we're old and they are not necessarily old.
He actually has, have you seen Rich Little's Christmas Carol?
I have not seen it. It's in one of my
upcoming
my lists.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it this year, but it is in there. It's in there.
That's also something else.
Yeah, I have enough just in those lists to continue for like the next 10 years.
Yeah,
so
same.
I may eventually get to it. I might, Oh yeah, well you have been doing it longer. You probably have way more stuff in the queue than I do. But there's no dearth.
Right. Yeah. So okay, they go to Professor Mustknow, and then they go to Ohno's house because apparently he lives in Santa Town. This curmudgeonly fellow here, this miscreant.
Mm-hmm.
And Santa's like, hey, now you can show me that present you were bragging to me about. And Ohno closes his curtains and he sees Candy Claus. Yeah.
Right. He just peers out the blinds like a meth addict,
like a creeper.
A knock at the door, And
right.
He's afraid it's the constable coming to serve a bench warrant.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Or it's like a lawsuit. He's waiting, like I
gotta
avoid
to be served the papers. Right.
That's right.
Right.
And then he just closes the blind. Well, it's a curtain, but he closes the curtain. And it turns out he's got the little boy there who's like half alive. It's this weird, like creepy between life and death kind of state that this kid is in. This
neither living nor dead.
Right. He's a little halting and twitchy.
Right.
And he clearly has shaken baby syndrome because Ohno keeps picking him up and just shaking the hell out of him. Saying, why aren't you alive? Why aren't you alive? And he says, can't be alive. You don't love me.
Love me.
And he says, Ohno actually says, "What's love got to do with it?"
Yes, and
I
all I
thought,
could.
if only Tina were here, she could explain that to him. Right?
That's right. Yeah, it's just a secondhand emotion, you know. Yeah, it's like this poor kid. He's just. I felt so bad for him because I mean, he's stuck in the situation he can't do
Right,
anything
right.
for. It's like, oh,
He's only half a little boy at this point. He's not
right,
even, he doesn't even, he can barely walk, and he's kind of gets frozen mid-step
right.
based on whatever energy is being thrown towards him. Could you imagine being like so dependent on the empathy of others that you couldn't even function without it? Oh, and this is existential horror of the highest order. Really.
Now we're going deep. I would love to see
Yeah.
him like being taken care of by Hugh Laurie as Dr. House.
Oh,
That would be
yeah.
that'd be funny to watch. Yeah.
Could Dr. House get him to walk again? Not with that attitude, right?
No,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. But this is where we find out his name. Ohno decides to call him Hey You.
Yeah.
So
It's a name. It's full of affection. It's an affectionate nickname.
It's
right?
a pet name.
Yeah. Right.
That's what I'll call you from now on. Hey, you.
Yeah, and then Ohno decides that because Candy Claus, we didn't mention this. Candy Claus is the only child who has ever been
the only child in Santa-town, right?
In Santa-town. I don't know how that works with elves and attrition. Are they all hundreds of thousands of years old, or do they die? Who knows? There's
I don't
penguins
know.
there.
Yeah,
there's some penguins dancing around there too, who are like looking like, what the hell are we doing in this special? My agent's getting a call in the morning, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're working for scale. That's all. But
Ohno decides that he's gonna be respected if he can get rid of Candy Claus, and then he has the only child in the town.
Right.
That's his master.
That'll
plan.
make him special. Yeah. It's
right.
a weird. I don't know how he leaped to that conclusion, but
because the plot demands it. That's how he leaps to that conclusion.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, if he has the only kid, he's gonna be it. Yeah.
Right, and he must be invisible when he flies, because nobody can see him when he starts making her do clumsy things. He pushes her over, and Mrs. Claus face plants into the snow and thinks that Candy Claus fell into her and pushed her or whatever.
Right.
And this is the beginning of her own existential crisis.
Right.
Which will not continue until after the commercial break 1 year later.
Exactly. Yeah, because it's a whole thing. They're getting ready for Christmas, and it's
right.
But yeah, when he turns invisible, he turns into his wind, red tornado form or whatever. He reminds me.
He has a problem with wind. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole other thing. But
that's a whole other story.
That's right. That's between him and his doctor. But he reminds me of Jack Frost from the 1979 Jack Frost Rankin Bass special. Where he turns invisible, he can do all that stuff as well. No one knows it's him.
Mm-hmm.
And so he decides for this next whole year, he's just going to sabotage this little girl and just make everyone think she's clumsy and that she's no good. And so all the work that she's been doing with the elves, making toys, helping out, it's like, it just goes to pot because he clearly just jacks it up.
Well, he has focus and determination. I'll give him that. Because he sticks with it for an entire year, but she doesn't seem plussed in any way by this. She just she's, oops, I broke another toy. I broke another toy again. Aren't I cute?
Mr. President.
Right. That what? That's exactly what I was thinking the first time I watched it. Was happy birthday, Mr. President. Christmas, Mr. President. Right. Yeah.
Yep.
So we get when we come back though for the year, we get the robots in the toy factory doing a really frenetic song.
Right.
That it's really headache inducing.
Down Santa's work
workshop, things go tinkle tankle. Buzz pop, making toys for Christmas for the children of the world.
Hurry, hurry, don't stop, down in Santa's workshop. Making
Well,
toys
and
for Christmas
so
for
this
the
is
children
totally
of the
80s
world.
because there was another Christmas special about Chuck E. Cheese from 1983 that also has robots working in Santa's workshop. So
Oh
80s
yeah.
loved
Oh
robots.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
There's another one that's on it's in one of my queues.
Oof.
I haven't, but I watched it yet.
So I'm gonna warn you, that one's rough because
Okay.
they animated only certain things because they were going to use computers to fill in the actual animation. So it's almost like you're just watching, like reading like a live action comic book. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, that sounds like a scintillating experience.
It's hard to get
Yeah.
through. So I feel for you when you have to watch it. But
well, yeah, maybe next year. I got another one that's this year. That's another 80s product turned cartoon that is of all of the many, I feel it is the worst I've seen. So
Ooh,
I'm
okay.
I'm excited to share that with the world.
Oh, I'm excited for that too.
Mm-hmm.
So the elves, because Candy's just so terrible at everything, because Ohno's like, basically just ruining everything she does. They have like a council, like like when they're trying to decide what to do with the One Ring. It's like the Council of Elves.
Right.
Yep.
They don't want to put a hit out on her. So
no, I mean it's Santa Claus's daughter. They can't do that. Yeah.
They can't do that not without his permission, at least. And
that's right. Yeah.
So right. So they decide they're going to banish her to the reindeer stalls.
Right.
They're not going to make her shovel them out or anything, but
no. Well,
that's what I would have done.
They even say something like they name some reindeer as well, right? There's like mistletoe and
right, the baby reindeer, the up and coming reindeer who are going to eventually replace the other reindeer when they retire.
Like
and how they expect that she can't like walk 3 feet without falling over. How is she going to teach baby reindeer how to fly? Is a question that is left unanswered.
We all have those coworkers that we just have to give them a project to get them out of our hair. So,
yeah, I've had a few like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Not now, thankfully. I love everybody I work with.
I do too. They're great guys. So they put like all this everything bad. They like feed it into this know-it-all computer, or no, it's the Mustknow computer. I guess Professor Mustknow must have created it or something.
Yes. They do mention that without his computer, they just don't know what they would have done.
They'd be writing everything down, I guess. I don't know. The horror. Yeah, so they feed it into the Bat computer and it comes up with a few solutions. She can be asked to, like you said, train the baby reindeer. Shad-O, who's like this other robot, kind of looks like he's got three like a tripod almost. He's got 3 legs.
Right. Yeah. I forget what I called him in the review, but he's got kind of eyes like Vincent from the Black Hole, if you remember that.
I do remember that.
Weird garbage can looking robots. He looks a little like that, but he's got a little tripod and he has one of these voices that were computer popular in the 80s.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So they say he can follow her around and kind of babysit her, and or she could just not be allowed to work in Santa's workshop.
Exactly. You could, but they're too kind to do that.
Yeah.
Which is laudable. They're trying to find a solution.
Well, they try. They say, hey, you know what? You've been working too hard. Like, go take a day off.
Right.
Yeah, they do try, but
right. And she said,
"Oh, but you know how much I love my work."
Yeah.
Besides, I could make more on OnlyFans than I can doing a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah,
that's right.
So, it's still wrong. It's so wrong.
But it's funny though. Yeah. So she somehow accidentally, because she's klutz and because Ohno probably pushed her, if I recall, she accidentally turns the computer on and she's listening to all this Mustknow computer tell him all these solutions, and so she is distraught and leaves.
Yes, this is the existential crisis that we foreshadowed.
Why am I here? Yeah.
Why am I here? And the answer is non-existent. None of us know why she's there.
Right.
None of us know.
Right.
And we don't care enough to find out.
I'd love to see like the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern side version of this, where it's just
Right.
her,
her and Shad-O in the wilderness.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's basically she just like goes out in the wilderness to die.
Pretty much. Basically.
It's like, is this how they do that in the North Pole culture? It's just when you're no longer useful to Santa's conglomerate.
It's like the Fremen and right, like the Fremen
exactly,
and Dune.
right.
Yeah.
Just go out into the wilderness
desert
and die.
Yeah.
That would have been a preferable ending, actually. But
they save her, don't they? No, not yet. So first she has an idea to make candy canes, right? And give them to all the children of the world.
She hatches a scheme while she's out there that she's going to buy the affection of the children of the world. She likes to suck on those candy canes so much that she's gonna make candy canes and give them to all of the 1.2 billion children in the world, so that they will love her the way that the producers of the special want us to love her.
Hey, it works for Santa. He bought my affection when I was a kid. So
exactly. But candy cane ain't gonna work on me.
Right.
I'm just gonna put it out.
That's right. Yeah.
But before she can work out the details, Ohno comes and he plants subliminal messages in her head about how no one actually loves her, and she's just worthless, and she should actually go out into the wilderness and die.
The elves don't love you. They blame you for their mistakes. Santa doesn't love you. Nobody loves you.
And she turns back into a doll.
Yeah.
She falls into the snow and turns back into a doll.
Right. You got to love yourself as well.
Yeah.
It's all about self-love, I guess.
I guess.
I don't know.
If you care that much,
Yeah. But they get a distress signal, right? From Shad-O.
Santa gets Santa and the elves are looking for her. I don't know why they're looking for her. I'd be like, thank God she's gone. But they're actually concerned.
I mean, I get why Santa would look for her, but yeah, the elves would be. The elves would definitely be.
They're
kind of rejoicing.
They're demonstrably better people than I am. Is what I'm saying. Because I would have seen this as my way out.
You're taking freedom.
Take matters into my without having to take matters into my own hands.
Right.
So there's the distress call, and Santa has a GPS on his sleigh. Right?
Yeah,
it's a little
GPS,
which I think that was quite early for the GPS.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that was prescient, and goes out and finds her.
Got something right.
Yeah. Tells her that she loves him, or he loves her, and she comes back to life.
Yep, just like that. She's restored to life.
Yes.
And so Candy and Mrs. Claus make all the candy canes.
Right. And all of this takes about 3 minutes of screen time.
Right.
Where is she?
She is here beside me.
Candy! What happened?
I want to be part of Christmas.
You will be, Candy. You will be.
Yeah. So the big crisis takes about 3 minutes of screen time.
The climax. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The only part of the story that is actual story is over in a flash.
It's crazy.
Right.
So they make what 1.37 billion candy canes.
Right.
And
with little robotic grabby hands.
Right. And
yeah,
I think she says something like, "Can I deliver them in my own sleigh?"
Right. So they couldn't trust her to be in a toy factory. They couldn't trust her to do pretty much anything on her own, but they're going to trust her to deliver, 1.2 or 1.3 billion candy canes to every child in the world.
Well,
makes perfect sense to me.
Well, and I think it only works because Professor Mustknow made her a special gift because Santa wanted her to be the first child to get a gift for Christmas. His own daughter.
Right.
Nepotism as its finest.
Right.
And,
but in the VHS version, though, it's just a bracelet.
Yeah.
We don't find out that it's a special bracelet, and then we go into this song, right?
Yeah.
I'd like to jump over like the VHS version does, because it just so doesn't make any sense.
Right.
There's
a lot that doesn't make sense.
They cut all this explanation about what the bracelet is, so it's basically just a bracelet.
Right.
And then there's a song
Right.
that has another psychedelic kind of background. And the entire song is just hammering a nail into our heads about how much we are supposed to love Candy
I love
Claus.
you, Candy. Yeah. They
It's
say candy a lot. Candy, candy, candy.
Oh, over and over and over
Yeah.
again. Over and over again. They're really working it. They're really trying to brand this into something that it will never be.
This isn't just any bracelet. This is like a time travel bracelet. And
right.
Yeah, and it's like it got a computer on it and everything. I mean, it's
right. But if you only had the VHS version, you don't get you don't get that, and you don't get what comes after that, what she sees on the bracelet, which sets up
which is probably for the best.
What was supposed to be but what's really interesting is I watched it actually right tonight.
Right.
Again.
Yeah.
And the broadcast version that has the complete ending, the title card just says The Adventures of Candy Claus. The VHS version that does not have the ending that sets up further adventures says The Adventures of Candy Claus Part 1, the beginning.
Right. Part 1.
You'd think it would be the one that actually set it up. It would be the other way around. But
they were hedging their bets there.
Right.
Yeah.
So she's got her Dick Tracy two-way wrist TV.
Right.
And the first and it can time travel, and it can remote view through time, like Project MX Ultra, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Well, who knew that came from the North Pole? But who knew the CIA and Santa were so tight? But the first thing she does is ask, "Oh, can you tell me about my family?"
Yes. Why would she ask that?
Right.
That's like the weirdest question.
Because the plot demands it. Haven't we gone over this, Jerry?
I know. I'm just being like, that's not what you ask a bracelet that knows anything. I mean,
no.
But it tells her about Santa, and it tells her about Mrs. Claus, her mom, and it tells her about her brother named Hey You.
Right.
And everybody's freaked out. What brother? What are you talking about?
Right.
Where are you?
She knows. No. I'll send him someplace she'll never find him.
He's gone. Oh, come back. Where are you? Where's my brother?
Oh, no, I just can't figure it out. It's almost as if someone were jamming the reception.
And then they very briefly see Hey You being scooped up by Ohno, and then Ohno on his little computer thing flips a switch and blocks the signal.
Right.
And then she vows that she will find her brother.
And then it ends like The Empire Strikes Back.
Exactly. Well, why not? They borrowed the scene in the snow from The Empire Strikes Back, so they might as well borrow the ending too.
Yep. I only wish they had cut open a wampa for
right. Yeah, I would like to see that. I would like to see that, or a walrus or something, whatever they have down there.
Right. One of those penguins.
There. Yeah, one of those penguins. Yeah, that sacrificed a penguin to keep her alive.
And then the note I have here is the song is too happy for the ending. That's because she's like, I will find my brother, and it's this dramatic sting, and then just
Candy Claus. Oh, I'm gonna go.
It's like, whoa, okay, cognitive dissonance time. But
oh man, well, the character is just a bundle of cognitive dissonance. With this little sexy baby doll thing, and they wanted so badly to have a franchise out of this.
They did, yeah.
But that this is not a character that could have supported that, and there just wasn't enough effort. I think why was this even made in Australia? I think they were just desperate to have a Christmas special that didn't involve the Wiggles.
Right. Well, it could be. Yeah.
I have only found aside from the Wiggles stuff, there's like 3 Christmas specials that were ever made, and the only reason I did this one is because I started watching one of the other 2, and it was a terrible print, and it was really boring. And it's hard to write a good article out of something that's just dull.
Right.
So I ditched it halfway through, and it was called Silent Night, Holy Night. It's called, and it's an animated special just about the story of how the song was written in Bavaria, right? Which is which
naturally you'd expect to be made in Australia.
Exactly. Right. I just thought, I'll do something from Australia. And I already had it in my heart that I was going to do something from Australia, and I found this, and I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad I did. This had really had everything in it that
there's
I
that other
look
one,
for.
the Monsters Christmas. I don't remember if it's from Australia or New Zealand.
It's from New Zealand.
New Zealand.
I love the Monsters Christmas.
A friend of mine really loved it too.
I did that my first year doing my fitness articles, and I loved it. I loved it. I actually wanted to see if I could find. I have an international DVD player because it's not available in the United States.
Right.
So I was looking for a copy of it, but they were too expensive. They were more than I would have wanted to spend on something on something I could watch on YouTube for free.
Right, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that one actually has some cool little things like the that insect monster.
Right.
And it's the guy walking backwards. Yeah, I thought
that was cool. I thought that was so cool. And the two mud pot monsters.
Oh yeah.
You know what I loved about that, and it actually is a really good segue because it contrasts so much with the character we've been dealing with this evening.
Right.
The little girl in that was such a little girl. She was very naturalistic.
She had spunk too. Yeah, she had like personality.
Spunk, but she reacted to things the way a little girl would react to things.
Right.
This was a great adventure to her. This was a great leap of imagination and a wonderful journey that she was going on, and her enthusiasm really came through in that special.
Right.
Which is not what we got here.
No, unfortunately, and
we have a passive protagonist who does absolutely nothing, and we're told to love her rather than being given reasons to love her.
Right. It's hard. It really is hard when she doesn't do anything to actually care about this character. But normally, this is where I do happiest moment. I don't know if I have one besides just talking with you about it right now. So
I liked the part where it was over.
The credits early, yeah.
No, even past that, yeah. Yeah, when I turned off the phone and went and spent time with my cats and my wife. That was the part I liked best.
Well, then instead, let me ask you, if you could be in this special, who would you be?
Oh, I'd be Ohno. Yeah, I think that's pretty clear.
Yeah. I feel that.
Yeah, I'm a grumpy old windbag.
So. I think it'd be funny to be Professor Mustknow. Just talk like Jimmy Stewart all day. A bad version
like Jimmy
of Jimmy Stewart all
day, and not really remember what you were doing or where you were going.
That's right.
Or whether you changed your depends or whatever. Yeah.
Merry Christmas, Bedford Falls. Merry Christmas, Santa.
Exactly. I think I used that. I think I said that in one of my captions. Yeah.
Oh, but now we come to my favorite part of the show, which is a little segment I like to call "Gag Me with the Spoon." So this is where we do our best impression of one of our least favorite parts. I don't know, we've kind of been doing that throughout the whole thing, but one of our least favorite parts. And so just kind of set up the scene for us. I'll let you go first and. Yeah, take it away.
It's gotta be the drunk dude singing that song, and all of these psychedelic visuals going on in the background, and there's blotter acid, and there's barbiturates, and there's booze, and there's a really special Christmas day.
It's like 60s party, just gone wrong.
Yeah,
I love it. No, I like that. That's better than mine. I decided to do a quote from Shad-O, and because I think he's this is what we're supposed to be feeling. This is after Candy discovers that everything's gone wrong for her, and the elves are trying to off her, and just all this stuff. And Shad-O just says, "Candy, I feel sorry for you." It's like, oh, right. That's what we're supposed to feel. Okay.
I feel sorry for us. Yeah. He also said, "You were not supposed to see that."
Yeah, he does. And
I thought, neither were we, Shad-O. Neither were we.
That's right. That's the joke. The joke's on us, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Joke's on us. Good. But G.I. Joe taught us that knowing is half the battle. What do you think the other half is?
if you're going to start a franchise, start with a character somebody gives a crap about.
That's a good one.
That's half the battle. Yeah.
I think that's definitely more than half of the battle, I think.
Yeah.
No, that's better than mine. You're 2-0 right now. But so I thought if no one's half the battle, the other half was just making sure that you have the budget for a complete adaptation before you start your project.
No, that's better. That's better than mine. No, but you have to. I think you have to have seen it to appreciate it.
Yeah.
You have to have seen how haphazard this production was to really appreciate that comment.
Well, I mean, that's a lot of that takes a lot of guts to start off with part one immediately.
Yeah,
the beginning,
the ambition,
and
the ambition was there, but the talent was out the window.
No,
the talent
unfortunately,
had long since departed.
All the male voices actually were done by, let's see, Keith Scott, who I believe the only thing I knew him from was the voice of Bullwinkle from that 2000 Rocky and Bullwinkle movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the kind of detail that I usually dig up, and I did not follow that path.
Yeah, well, I mean,
that's very interesting.
Yeah, that's really all that I know him from. Like both he and Robin Moore, who is Candy Claus, and all the female voices were in a bunch of like Australian cartoons. This series, I guess, but that's all I mean, I didn't recognize anything from them. So, except for that Rocky Bullwinkle. Yeah.
I really want to know what the discussions were like when they were settling on sexy baby voice for that character.
We need something to distinguish Candy from every other female character here.
Let's make her a sexy child. Yeah, let's do that. Let's appease the fetishists on Megan's list.
You just feel like the like the head of the studio, with his cigars. Yeah, that'll do it. I got it. That's good.
Right.
That's gold.
That'll do it, mate. That'll do it, mate.
That's right. That's right. I forgot.
We like sexy babies down here.
Oh man.
Oh boy. Yeah, boy. I've gone too far.
Bradley, it's been a blast talking about this with you. But tell me about your sites or anything else you want to plug. Like, what do you got coming up?
Oh, we didn't do much with the site this year, but I do have the 12 Days of Shitmas coming up starting on December 3rd. We publish a new article of a Christmas special every other day through Christmas morning. And as we have been doing, this will be our 5th year doing that. I say our, but it's my project.
Yeah.
Shitmas is my baby. I did not do Shitmas in July this year because I was just too busy with everything. Also, I work at a drop-in mental health day center, and since COVID, it's the various crises in mental health have been pushed kind of over the edge.
I mean, they really have.
We've been very busy.
Yeah.
We've been very busy.
Yeah,
and that's a little more important than shit.
I mean.
Meh. Is it though?
Yeah, exactly. Depends on who who you're talking to. No, it totally is. And actually, thank you for that work. That's really laudable. I love it. So yeah. But
it's my niche. It's my little niche. So,
yeah. It's a fantastic run of articles. Go to Million Monkey Theater. It's you'll have a blast reading everything. So yeah, definitely go check it out for sure. So thanks again. This was fun.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me back. I enjoyed this. Anytime you need a grumpy old man, you just give me a call.
Well, on that note, I'll end it with candy, 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 candy. So check us out on our social media pages, which you can find at linktree.com/totallyradchristmas. And if you're feeling like candy coming to life, leave us a review on iTunes. It helps us reach more people and spread some rad holiday cheer. Now, don't forget to check out our merch shop on TeePublic and our super dope website, totallyradchristmas.com. I will find you. I will find my brother. Later, dudes.
Candy, we love you. Yes, we do.
We've got holiday magic on ice as Robin Cousins and Dorothy Hamill star in The Nutcracker, a special 90-minute presentation Wednesday at 7:30 on MITV.
Candy, 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 candy.